Central Park had always been Emily Carter's safe haven, a slice of peace amidst the endless chaos of New York City. Every afternoon, Emily would find her way to the same familiar bench, shaded by a canopy of towering oak trees. She'd tilt her face gently towards the sun, feeling its warmth on her skin, letting the gentle rustle of leaves and distant laughter wash over her. At her side, as always, sat Max, her loyal Labrador retriever, his golden fur gleaming in the sun. Max wasn't just any dog, he was her eyes, her protector, and her best friend ever since the tragic accident 4 years ago that had taken her sight. Today, however, Max seemed unusually restless. His normally calm demeanor was replaced by a quiet tension. His ears perked at every sound, and his gentle eyes scanned the surroundings vigilantly. Emily, sensing his unease through the leather leash in her hand, softly reached down to stroke his golden fur. "What is it, Max?" she murmured reassuringly, though her voice betrayed a hint of concern. Across the park, Liam Hayes leaned against his Harley, a worn leather jacket slung carelessly over broad shoulders. Tattoos snaked down his forearms, memories etched in ink, reminders of a past he desperately tried to forget. Surrounded by his usual crew of bikers, laughter and cigarette smoke swirling around them, Liam's gaze settled on Emily and Max. Something about the serene sight disturbed him deeply. It wasn't envy, no, it was recognition. He'd seen dogs like Max before, disciplined and alert, reminding him painfully of another life, a life he'd walked away from but still haunted him in the darkest hours. Liam flicked his cigarette onto the pavement, grinding it beneath his heavy boot. "Look at her, living in her perfect little world," he muttered bitterly, drawing snickers from his friends. But beneath his bravado, a deeper pain flickered, one tied to the memories that Max's posture painfully revived. "I'll show you something," Liam growled softly, pushing away from his bike and walking steadily toward the bench, his footsteps echoing ominously across the pavement. Max immediately stiffened, a low growl rumbling deep in his chest. Emily tightened her grip on Max's harness, sensing his unease. Her pulse quickened, her instincts warning her that their sanctuary was about to be shattered. Liam stopped just a few feet away, eyes fixed on the Labrador, ignoring Emily entirely. "Where'd you get your dog?" he asked sharply, his voice rough with a barely contained emotion. Emily turned her head toward Liam's voice, startled yet resolute. "He's my guide dog. Is there a problem?" "Yeah, there's a problem," Liam snapped, voice strained with tension. "Your dog, he wasn't always just a guide. He's ex-military. I'd know that stance anywhere." Emily felt her breath catch. Her fingers instinctively tightened on Max's harness as the realization sank in. Max stood firm, body rigid, eyes locked on Liam, recognition flickering in the depths of the dog's watchful gaze. The past Emily had never known about Max was suddenly rushing to the surface, threatening to change everything she believed about her closest companion. The silence was heavy, broken only by Max's steady growl. Liam took a cautious step back, clearly unsettled. "I served," he admitted, his voice softer now, laden with an unspoken pain. "Dogs like him saved lives. Probably saved mine." Emily's throat tightened. The stranger's hostility had shifted, revealing something deeper beneath his tough exterior. "I had no idea," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "They never told me much about his past." Liam exhaled sharply, as though fighting an internal battle. "They never do," he muttered bitterly, running a hand over his closely cropped hair. "But dogs like Max, they don't forget. They carry everything." A small crowd had begun to form, sensing the unusual tension. Phones were raised discreetly, capturing the unfolding drama. Liam noticed, irritation flickering across his face as he glanced at the onlookers. "Forget it," he said abruptly, turning away. Yet he hesitated, his gaze returning briefly to Max, regret and respect mingling in his expression. "Take care of him," he finally said, his voice gruff, barely concealing emotion. Emily remained seated, shaken yet intrigued. Max relaxed slightly, still vigilant but calmer now that the immediate threat had subsided. She reached down, gently stroking his head, feeling the soft reassurance of his warm fur beneath her fingertips. The revelation from Liam had sparked a curiosity and urgency within her to understand more about Max's hidden past. As Liam disappeared into the crowd, Emily's mind raced. She needed answers. The sanctuary of the park no longer felt like an escape, but rather the starting point of a journey she hadn't known she needed to take. Emily knew one thing for certain: Max was more than her protector. He had a story, and she owed it to him to uncover it. That evening, back in the quiet comfort of her apartment, Emily sat on the floor beside Max, her fingers gently threading through his soft golden fur. Her mind raced with questions, fragments of Liam's words replaying in her thoughts. Ex-military. Dogs like him saved lives. How had she never known this? How could the Foundation have withheld something so significant? Who are you really, Max? She murmured softly. Max responded with a gentle nudge against her arm, sensing her anxiety. Emily smiled slightly, comforted by his reassuring presence. Yet, an insistent curiosity tugged at her heart. Determined, Emily pulled her laptop closer. Voice commands guided her quickly to the website of the organization that had placed Max with her. She activated the speech software, navigating to their contact page. Within minutes, she had sent a carefully worded email requesting detailed information on Max's previous service. Days passed slowly, each one filled with anticipation. Max seemed to sense Emily's heightened emotions, staying close, his comforting warmth always within reach. It was on the 5th day that her phone finally rang, interrupting their quiet morning routine. Emily Carter, a kind voice asked on the other end. My name is Sarah Collins, from Guardian Paws Foundation. I got your email about Max. He was originally named Bravo. Emily's breath caught. Bravo? Yes, Sarah confirmed gently. He served overseas as an explosives detection dog. He completed multiple deployments alongside a handler named Sergeant 𝐦𝐨𝐬𝐬. Emily's stomach dropped, and her pulse quickened. Did you say 𝐦𝐨𝐬𝐬? Sarah paused briefly. Yes, Sergeant 𝐦𝐨𝐬𝐬. They completed 3 tours together. Bravo was instrumental in detecting IEDs, saving dozens of lives, including Liam's. Emily struggled to find her voice. Liam had not only recognized Max, he'd been his partner. No wonder his reaction had been so charged with emotion. Can you tell me more? Emily finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Why wasn't I informed? Sarah hesitated again. Often, we keep the details minimal to help the dogs transition to civilian life without baggage. Some new owners prefer not knowing too much about past traumas. I'm sorry if that was a mistake in your case. No, Emily quickly interjected, her tone gentle but firm. Knowing is better. I think Max deserves to have his story known. Thank you, Sarah. After the call, Emily sat quietly, absorbing the weight of this revelation. Max, or Bravo, had lived an extraordinary life long before he became her guide. She reached down, finding him by her side as always, gently tracing his familiar ears. Max pressed his head against her hand, and she felt a pang in her heart. He had experienced things she couldn't imagine, and yet he stood by her daily, calm and loyal. Over the next few days, Emily grappled with what to do next. She felt a growing obligation not just to honor Max's past, but perhaps also to bridge the emotional gap that clearly haunted Liam. Liam's troubled face lingered in her thoughts. Behind his rough exterior, there was pain, a pain linked directly to Max. Finally, she made a decision. With the help of a friend, she tracked down the biker club Liam was known to frequent. Anxiety fluttered in her stomach, but Emily remained steadfast, driven by the certainty that this encounter was necessary, not just for herself, but for Max, and perhaps even for Liam. On a bright Saturday afternoon, Emily arrived at the crowded biker bar with Max at her side. Conversations dimmed briefly as she stepped inside, the sight of a blind woman and her Labrador guide dog clearly unusual in such a setting. She felt dozens of eyes on her, yet she stood confidently, fingers firm on Max's harness. She heard familiar heavy footsteps approaching. What are you doing here? Liam's gruff voice held a mixture of confusion and irritation. I need to talk to you, Emily said firmly, her voice steady. I know about Bravo. There was a long silence, heavy with tension and uncertainty. Finally, Liam exhaled, defeated. Come on, he muttered reluctantly, guiding her towards a quieter corner of the bar. Once seated, Emily sensed Liam's unease. She decided to break the silence. I spoke to Guardian Paws. They told me everything. Max, Bravo, he saved your life. Yeah, Liam sighed deeply, the anger melting from his voice, replaced by raw vulnerability. More than once. He was my partner through some of the toughest days of my life. After I came back, I lost everything. Seeing him, it reminded me of who I used to be, of what I left behind. Emily's voice softened with compassion. Maybe Max hasn't forgotten either. He recognized you. Liam's voice trembled slightly. Dogs like Bravo don't forget. They remember everyone they've ever protected. Emily reached out, finding Liam's hand and placing hers gently upon it. Liam flinched slightly at first, startled by the gentle contact, but he didn't pull away. Maybe Bravo's not just protecting me anymore, she said quietly. Maybe he's protecting you too. A silence settled between them, comfortable yet profound. Emily heard Liam's breathing steady, felt his tension ease slowly. Beneath her hand, Liam's rough knuckles unclenched, accepting the comfort she offered. There's a veteran support group, Emily continued cautiously, sensing an opening. It's run by 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞. They're always looking for people who understand military dogs, people who could help train others, help them heal. Maybe I could stop running from this, Liam finished for her quietly, his voice thick with emotion. Emily smiled softly. And maybe Max can finally have both of his worlds together again. Max shifted slightly, resting his head on Liam's knee, offering quiet confirmation. Emily felt a swell of warmth in her chest. It was as though Max had understood every word of their conversation, bringing together two broken souls in a way only he could. For the first time in years, Liam genuinely smiled, a hesitant but hopeful expression. Maybe it's time to start facing what I've been avoiding. For Bravo. For me. For all of us, Emily added softly, feeling a deep sense of peace. In that quiet corner, amidst the muffled hum of the crowded bar, three lives intertwined more deeply than ever, connected by loyalty, courage, and the quiet, unwavering presence of a remarkable Labrador named Max. Over the next several weeks, Liam began attending the veteran support sessions at 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, slowly opening up about his experiences. Emily joined him occasionally, feeling deeply inspired by Liam's courage to confront his past. Max, of course, was always there, alert, calm, and offering quiet comfort. At first, Liam was reserved, listening more than speaking, but gradually, stories began to surface, tales of courage and pain, moments of fear balanced by extraordinary bravery. Liam spoke of long nights in distant deserts, explosive-laden roads, and the steadfast presence of Bravo, the golden Labrador whose unwavering vigilance had saved countless lives, including his own. One evening, after a particularly emotional meeting, Liam walked Emily and Max home. The air was cool, a gentle breeze rustling the trees overhead. Liam's voice was quieter than usual, thoughtful. You know, after Bravo retired, I was supposed to keep him, he confessed softly. But I couldn't handle it. Couldn't face the memories. So I gave him up to 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞. I've regretted it every day since. Emily paused, turning toward Liam. Maybe Bravo Max understands. Maybe he knows you had to heal in your own way. Maybe, Liam murmured, looking down at the dog who walked calmly between them. But it doesn't erase what I did. He deserved better. You both deserved better, Emily gently corrected. Life threw you both into chaos. Max found a new purpose guiding me, and now he's helping you again. Perhaps it was meant to be this way. Liam exhaled deeply, considering her words. Maybe fate does have a sense of humor, he said with a small, rueful laugh. As they reached Emily's apartment building, Liam hesitated. You know, I haven't thanked you yet. Emily tilted her head slightly. For what? For not letting me walk away that day in the park. For pushing me to face things I've buried too deep. His voice softened further. For giving me another chance with Bravo. Emily smiled warmly, sensing the sincerity in his voice. We both owe Max a lot. Liam nodded quietly. I won't waste this second chance. Days turned into weeks, and Liam became a familiar presence in Emily's life. Their friendship deepened, forged by shared gratitude and understanding. Max, as if sensing the strengthening bond, seemed even more content, more fulfilled than ever before. Together, they began working actively with 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, organizing community events and outreach programs designed to educate people about retired military dogs and the veterans they supported. The local community responded warmly, inspired by the powerful bond Liam and Max demonstrated during training demonstrations. One crisp autumn afternoon, Emily and Liam sat on their now-favorite bench in Central Park, Max comfortably sprawled at their feet. The leaves had turned vibrant shades of gold and amber, fluttering gently around them. Liam cleared his throat, breaking a comfortable silence. Emily, I've been thinking a lot about starting a nonprofit. A program specifically focused on pairing retired service dogs with disabled veterans. Giving both sides a chance to heal, like Bravo did for us. Emily's smile widened. That sounds perfect, Liam. Exactly what's needed. I wouldn't have come this far without you, Liam admitted softly. Or without Max. Emily reached down, feeling Max's reassuring presence, her fingers gently tangled in his fur. Max taught us both something important. Healing is about courage, courage to face our fears, our past, and our future. Liam nodded, his eyes thoughtful. I'd like you to help me run it. Your perspective, your strength, it's invaluable. She laughed softly, warmth spreading through her chest. I'd be honored. Liam gently reached out, placing a reassuring hand over hers, his voice sincere. This started because Bravo brought us together. But I'm here because you believed in something good beneath my anger. Thank you for seeing beyond the surface. Emily smiled gently. Max saw it first. The quiet laughter that followed was healing in itself. Beneath the rustling leaves, with sunlight filtering through the branches, Emily felt a profound sense of completeness. Life had taken her sight but had given her something infinitely precious in return, a bond rooted in courage, resilience, and hope. Max raised his head slightly, glancing between Emily and Liam as if affirming their conversation. He then sighed contentedly, resting his head back down on Liam's boots, bringing smiles to both their faces. He really is extraordinary, Liam murmured fondly. He always has been, Emily agreed softly. They sat quietly for a long moment, comfortable in the silence, appreciating the peace they'd both fought so hard to achieve. 6 months later, the Bravo initiative officially opened its doors. The launch event, held in Central Park, was attended by veterans, community members, and supporters from all over New York City. Liam, dressed smartly in his former military jacket, stood proudly at the podium, Max beside him, as Emily smiled warmly from her seat nearby. Liam spoke with clarity and conviction, sharing the journey that had brought them here. Bravo wasn't just my partner in the field. He taught me courage in ways I couldn't understand until recently. After returning home, I thought I was alone, but I was wrong. Bravo never stopped being my partner, even after retirement, even after I gave him away. He was still guiding me, still protecting me, through Emily. This initiative is about creating similar bonds for veterans who, like me, might feel they've lost everything. We're here to remind them they're not alone. The applause that followed was thunderous, emotional, heartfelt. Veterans stood proudly beside their own canine companions, inspired by Liam's journey from anger and isolation to healing and hope. As Liam stepped down from the podium, he reached Emily's side, gently placing her hand on his arm. "We did it," he whispered. "You did it," she corrected warmly. "I was just lucky enough to witness it." "No," he said, voice filled with gratitude. "We did this together." Amidst the joyful celebrations, Max remained serene and dignified, watching carefully. He had lived 2 remarkable lives, both dedicated to protection and loyalty. Emily sensed Max's quiet pride, feeling it deeply in her heart. "You've saved us both," she whispered to him later, kneeling beside him after the ceremony had ended. Max gently nudged her, comforting as always. It was his silent way of saying he knew, and he was exactly where he belonged. As the sun set that day, casting golden hues across Central Park, Emily felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Life had dealt each of them harsh blows, yet they had found purpose and peace, guided by courage and love, embodied perfectly in a loyal Labrador retriever named Max. And for Emily, Liam, and Max, this wasn't the end of their story. It was just the beautiful beginning of a new chapter together. The Bravo initiative quickly gained momentum, becoming a beacon of hope for veterans throughout New York City. Emily found herself busier than ever, coordinating events, fundraising, and managing volunteer training sessions alongside Liam. Max thrived in this renewed sense of purpose, seamlessly moving between roles, Emily's guide, Liam's companion, and the unofficial mascot of the initiative. Yet, amidst the success, Emily felt something within herself shifting. Her world, once defined by limitations and cautious routines, had expanded far beyond her previous boundaries. With Liam's encouragement, she began navigating the city with newfound confidence, relying less solely on Max and more on her own instincts. For Emily, this growth was exhilarating, though occasionally daunting. One evening, as they wrapped up a training session at the facility, Liam gently broached a delicate subject. "Have you ever considered training with another dog, Emily?" Emily paused, her fingers tightening instinctively on Max's harness. "You mean retiring Max?" "No," Liam reassured softly, sensing her tension. "But maybe allowing Max a bit more freedom. He loves working at the initiative, he loves being around other dogs and veterans. And you're becoming so independent. It could be good for you both." Emily sat quietly, considering his words. The thought of giving Max space stirred conflicting emotions. He was not just her guide, he had become her symbol of security and companionship. "Maybe," she finally admitted softly. "I've thought about it. But what if he feels replaced?" Liam smiled gently, though his voice carried a quiet conviction. "Max knows your heart better than anyone. He'll understand. He's done so much already. Perhaps it's his time to help in a different way." Emily nodded slowly, absorbing his words. "Let's just give it some thought." In the weeks following, Emily began observing Max more closely at the initiative. It was clear he loved interacting with veterans, playing gently with them, providing comfort simply by his presence. Watching him brought a mix of pride and quiet sadness to Emily's heart. Finally, after several sleepless nights, Emily made her decision. With Liam's support, she began training with a new guide dog, a gentle black Labrador named Charlie. At first, the transition felt awkward. Emily missed Max's familiar movements, his comforting weight at her side. But Charlie's cheerful disposition soon began to win her over. Max adapted surprisingly quickly, fully embracing his new role at the initiative. He spent his days by Liam's side, training other service dogs, offering emotional support to veterans, or simply resting contentedly in the sunshine. The Golden Labrador had found yet another new purpose, thriving in a way Emily hadn't anticipated. One sunny afternoon, Emily arrived at the initiative to a scene that filled her heart with warmth. Liam stood at the edge of the training field, supervising a class. Beside him sat Max, dignified and alert, his gaze focused intently on the veterans training with their dogs. The scene perfectly captured Max's journey from a dedicated military dog to Emily's trusted guide, and now mentor and protector to so many others. Liam noticed her approach, greeting her warmly. "How's Charlie doing?" "He's wonderful," Emily replied sincerely, a smile playing on her lips. "But it's still strange sometimes. Max and I shared so much." Liam nodded thoughtfully, his eyes drifting to Max. "You always will. He's unique. He's touched more lives than most people ever will." Emily knelt beside Max, gently stroking his fur. The dog leaned into her affection, familiar and comforting. "You've changed us, Max. You've given us strength, purpose, and hope. I can never thank you enough." Max responded with a soft lick to her hand, as if reassuring her that their bond remained unbreakable, despite new roles and new journeys. That autumn, the Bravo initiative received national attention. The story of Max, Bravo, and his remarkable journey captured hearts across the country. Donations poured in, expanding the initiative's reach even further. Liam and Emily found themselves traveling, speaking publicly about Max's incredible life and advocating for greater support of retired military dogs and veterans. At a gala celebrating their achievements, Emily and Liam stood together, Max at their side, calm and dignified as ever. Liam stepped forward, addressing the gathered crowd. "This all began because of one dog, Bravo," Liam said, his voice clear and strong. "He taught us courage, loyalty, and selflessness. He reminded us what it means to truly serve, not just overseas, but every single day, right here at home." Emily smiled gently, stepping forward beside Liam, her voice full of warmth. "And Max, Bravo, taught me how to trust again, how to embrace independence, and how to live courageously even without sight. He showed me that real strength isn't about facing challenges alone, but about who you choose to face them with." As applause filled the room, Emily reached down, feeling Max's steady presence beside her, the gentle, reassuring weight of his body pressed against her leg. Her heart swelled with gratitude and pride, knowing that Max's legacy would continue long after tonight. Later that evening, under the soft glow of city lights, Liam and Emily walked side by side, Max strolling contentedly between them. Charlie trotted calmly at Emily's other side, fully integrated into their lives. "You ever think we'd be here?" Liam asked quietly, smiling gently as they paused near Central Park's familiar entrance. "Never," Emily replied softly, her voice filled with sincerity. "But I wouldn't trade a moment of it." Max nudged gently against Liam, then Emily, as though confirming the sentiment. He had been a warrior, a protector, a guide, and now a teacher, silently demonstrating resilience and loyalty in every step. They lingered in the peaceful evening air, a gentle silence settling comfortably between them. Finally, Liam's voice broke the quiet. "Thank you, Emily, for everything." Emily smiled warmly. "I think Max planned this all along." Liam chuckled softly, his voice warm. Knowing him, he probably did. As they walked away into the evening, Emily felt profoundly grateful, not only for the remarkable Labrador who had brought them together, but for the journey he had inspired. The future was unknown, yet she faced it now with confidence and courage, knowing Max had taught her everything she needed to know about trust, resilience, and friendship. And somewhere deep in her heart, Emily knew that Max's greatest gift was not merely guiding her through life without sight, but guiding them both towards a life filled with purpose, love, and endless possibility. Winter settled over New York City, cloaking Central Park in a peaceful blanket of white. Emily found herself reflecting often, amazed at how far she had come since that fateful day when Liam had confronted her about Max's past. Max, now widely known as Bravo again, had become a beloved figure in the veteran community. His calm presence brought solace to those struggling to heal, veterans who saw in him their own possibilities for redemption and hope. Yet, Emily often wondered if Max felt fulfilled. Watching him interact daily with others at the initiative, it was clear he loved his work, but Emily couldn't shake the feeling that there was still something missing. Perhaps, she thought, it was time to give Max the acknowledgement he truly deserved, honoring him publicly for the countless lives he had saved both abroad and at home. With Liam's enthusiastic agreement, Emily planned a special ceremony. It would honor Bravo's extraordinary service, bringing together his former military companions and those whose lives he'd touched since retirement. Invitations were sent, preparations made, and soon the special day arrived. The ceremony took place in Central Park, near the very bench where Emily and Max had spent countless afternoons. Snow lightly dusted the trees, the crisp air alive with quiet anticipation. Veterans and their families gathered, joined by community members and media eager to share Bravo's inspiring story. Emily stood beside Liam, gripping his arm gently, feeling both excitement and nostalgia. Charlie sat quietly by her side, attentive and patient. Max stood proudly at Liam's other side, his golden fur gleaming against the winter backdrop. Sergeant Jake Wallace, Liam's former commanding officer, stepped forward to speak first. His voice resonated warmly, thick with emotion. Bravo wasn't just a military working dog, he was a guardian, our silent protector. He risked his life countless times without hesitation. I witnessed firsthand his extraordinary courage, loyalty, and strength. Without him, many of us wouldn't be standing here today. Jake turned directly toward Bravo, voice breaking slightly. Thank you, Bravo, for your unwavering service, your courage, and your friendship. You are the truest definition of a hero. Applause filled the park, heartfelt and emotional. Emily felt tears slipping silently down her cheeks, deeply moved by the sincerity in Jake's voice. Then it was Liam's turn to speak. His voice trembled slightly, but he spoke with confidence, meeting the gaze of the veterans gathered around him. When I first returned home from service, I was broken, Liam admitted openly. I pushed Bravo away because I couldn't face the memories he represented. But he found me again, he saved me again. Not on the battlefield this time, but here at home. He taught me the hardest lesson. Sometimes strength means allowing ourselves to heal, to trust, and to move forward. Liam glanced down at Bravo, his voice softening. You're not just my partner, Bravo. You're my family. And I promise I'll always honor the courage you showed me. Emily stepped forward, her voice clear and filled with gentle warmth. Bravo gave me sight in more ways than one. Through him, I learned that losing one's sense does not mean losing vision. He taught me independence, trust, and courage. He showed me that true strength is allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and accepting help from those we love. She paused briefly, feeling Liam's supportive presence beside her. Bravo's journey reminds us all that life doesn't stop after tragedy. Instead, it gives us chances to find new paths, build new connections, and create a legacy that inspires others. As Emily finished speaking, applause erupted again, louder this time, filling the park with gratitude and respect. Bravo remained poised, dignified in his quiet way, seemingly understanding the honor bestowed upon him. After the ceremony, veterans approached Bravo, gently stroking his fur and offering quiet words of gratitude. Bravo patiently accepted their affection, tail wagging gently, eyes wise and gentle. Emily listened quietly, humbled by the profound impact her loyal companion had made. Jake Wallace approached Emily and Liam, shaking Liam's hand firmly. What you two have built here is incredible, he said sincerely. Bravo's legacy is in excellent hands. Liam smiled modestly. We're just paying forward what he gave us. Jake nodded approvingly before turning to Emily. Bravo made the perfect choice when he chose you. Never forget how special you both are. Emily smiled warmly, genuinely touched. Thank you, Jake. That evening, long after the crowd had dispersed, Emily, Liam, Max, and Charlie returned to the quiet bench. Snowflakes drifted gently, settling lightly around them, casting an ethereal glow over the peaceful park. I can't believe how much life has changed since we first sat here, Liam murmured reflectively. Emily smiled, leaning comfortably against Liam. It feels like a lifetime ago. Do you ever regret learning the truth? Liam asked carefully. About Bravo's past? Never, Emily replied without hesitation, reaching down to gently caress Max's fur. His past made him who he is. It brought us all together. And it showed us how powerful healing can be. Bravo raised his head gently, nuzzling Emily's hand affectionately, confirming the bond they shared remained unbreakable. Liam took a deep breath, the cold air sharp in his lungs. You know, I spent years thinking I was alone, lost. But now, because of Bravo, because of you, I finally understand. Healing isn't a destination. It's a choice we make every day to keep moving forward together. Emily smiled warmly. And we'll keep choosing it every day. As they sat quietly, Emily felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Bravo had guided them both through darkness, lighting paths they never thought possible. Now together, they were committed to doing the same for others. Bravo rested his head gently on Liam's knee, content and serene, as if fully understanding his role in their lives. Charlie pressed against Emily's leg comfortingly, solidifying their growing bond. In the gentle quiet of Central Park, surrounded by falling snow, Emily realized their story had never truly been about loss. It was about rediscovery, courage, and the power of connection. Bravo had shown them how to find strength in vulnerability, trust in uncertainty, and family in the most unexpected places. Emily gently squeezed Liam's hand, their silent understanding speaking volumes. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, strengthened by their unbreakable bond, guided always by the quiet, steadfast presence of the remarkable dog who had changed their lives forever. In that moment, Emily knew with absolute clarity that she had never truly lost her vision. Bravo Max had simply taught her a new way to see. And for that gift, she would be forever grateful.